Hello ladies! So I'm here to give you an update pretty much from 6.5 weeks to 16 weeks pregnant, which is where I'm at now. I have a lot to say, but I'm going to try to shorten it down as much as I can. So we left off at my last video that we knew I was pregnant and we knew my beta numbers, but we hadn't gone in for the ultrasound yet. So a couple days later, we went in for our ultrasound, and that's where we discovered that we were pregnant with twins. And we were extremely excited, and I just bawled. I was so happy. And as we continued to look at the babies, baby A had a heartbeat of 123, which was right where it was supposed to be. It was perfect. And then we went to baby B, and the sac was a little bit smaller, and the heartbeat was only 77. So right off the bat, my doctor was just preparing us, basically saying it could go either way. The baby could catch up to baby A and be perfectly fine, or we need to prepare ourselves for the possibility of, losing baby B. So we just left the appointment on cloud 9 that we were pregnant at all, and then pregnant with twins, but also a little bit worried and sad about baby B. Let me show you the ultrasounds that we got. So she didn't really get a good picture of both of them at the same time. That's probably the best one there. The one on the bottom is baby A, has a bigger sac and just looks healthier. I know that baby A is really supposed to be the one on the top, but that's just what she told us, and we just kind of kept it that way. That's how we referred to him. Anyway, and then there's the thing, the heartbeat. It's measuring the heartbeat on the last one, but you can't really see it. Anyway, so we went to my regular OB. That first ultrasound was at our fertility doctor. And then we went to our regular OB a week and a half later at 8 weeks. And that's where we found that baby A was perfect and had a wonderful heartbeat and was strong. We could even see it wiggling a little bit, and it was crazy. And then when she went to go look at baby B, the ultrasound machine wasn't very updated. It was actually not, it was really grainy and hard to see. So she couldn't even see the baby. She could see that something was there, but she couldn't see, it was obviously a lot smaller than baby A, and just wasn't doing, she just didn't have much hope for it. So then we waited. She wanted us to go into the other ultrasound room where they have the big ultrasound machine where they do the anatomy scans and whatnot, because that was a lot clearer. And it was true. They did the ultrasound again. It was a lot clearer, and you could see baby A again, and it was beautiful and, wiggling and perfect. And baby B, I could already tell that it wasn't okay. The ultrasound tech was like, well, maybe I see something there, but it was still measuring at 6 weeks, and, a few days, and there was no heartbeat. She was kind of trying to look for some kind of heartbeat, but since we could see it on the first ultrasound, a week and a half earlier, and now we couldn't see anything, and it was a better machine, we already knew. So that day was kind of weird, just because we were so happy to finally get to see, a healthy, beautiful baby. We never got that with our last pregnancy. But also we were so sad because we had lost our other baby. And I think everybody, our friends and family kind of just was it's fine. It sucks that you lost that baby, but at least you're still pregnant. It's okay, and I feel like I mourned this baby just as much as my first one, if not more, because I saw its heartbeat the first day. I video recorded it on my phone, and I got to hear it, and I listened to it constantly throughout the week. And and then everyone's like, well, at least you still have one in there. And of course, I love this baby, and I am so incredibly grateful for this opportunity to, be pregnant and have everything go so well. But I was still really sad and mourned the loss of my other baby. So the baby just kind of, basically vanishes and absorbs into the other sac and other placenta. And all that nutrients and stuff will start going just solely to the first baby, which it already has now. And then we had an ultrasound every other week until 12 weeks. And each week we could see that the second sac was getting smaller and smaller and smaller and slowly absorbing as each week went by. So, there is the quick version of our whole twin story. But anyway, we were completely excited and told our family and everything after we knew that we were pregnant with twins. After our first ultrasound and we saw both, we told Eric's parents and his whole family. And we had told my parents, I think the week before my ultrasound. And then, of course, we told them about the twins. And, so a lot of people, we had a lot of support. And we, when we lost the second baby, but at the same time, it was kind of just brushed under the rug because, well, at least you're still pregnant kind of a thing. So I don't know, like I'm a lot more over it now and not as like devastated, but I would definitely I still like mourned the loss of that baby, even though I am and was still pregnant. So anyway, moving on. As far as my symptoms go and went, from like weeks 5 to almost 11 weeks, I had really bad morning sickness, and it was like all day, every day. The pills that they gave me didn't super work. I was taking the garlic pills. I was taking B6. Not really much of a change as far as the sickness was. I ended up getting one of the C-bands that goes on your wrist that you wear, and it kind of has like a pressure point. Those helped a little bit. If I wore them consistently, they helped, but I was still really sick and nauseous. So like I didn't really, like I felt hungry that I needed to eat because my stomach was empty, but at the same time I was so nauseous and nothing sounded good. Everything was like a food aversion, I swear. I never thought, oh, that sounds good. Like I was pretty much just nibbling on crackers and ginger ale, and I'm trying to choke down any vegetables I could. But it was hard. Like it was really rough. But around 11 weeks, I started slowing down and I would get less nauseous. And the first few weeks from like probably 5 to 8 weeks, 9-ish weeks, I didn't really throw up or anything. I was just nauseous all the time. And then around 10 weeks is when I would start throwing up. And as weird as this sounds, I actually but liked the throwing up version better of just being the nauseous all the time version. Because after I would throw up, I would get relief and I would move on for the day, Even if I threw up 3 times that day, at least I got some kind of relief in between going to the bathroom and throwing up. And now, like after probably 13 weeks, the nausea had pretty much gone away. But then all of a sudden I would just get really gaggy and I would just like throw up, but I wasn't nauseous. So I don't know. It was kind of weird. But again, I would rather just throw up once and then be done rather than like being sick all day and nauseous all day. So that was kind of nice. As much as it sucked being sick though, I was more nervous when I wasn't sick because I'm like, is something wrong? Did the baby stop growing? What's going on, blah, blah, blah. And, I remember there'd be moments throughout the day that I'd feel fine, even though I was sick that morning. Or maybe I wasn't sick yet. And I'd like start to freak out and like call my husband and be like, I'm just scared or I'm nervous because I'm not sick right now. And then later that afternoon, I'd be just, sick as a dog. So of course you're like scared throughout your whole pregnancy, especially if you've gone through a loss before. And anyway, so I'm sure I drove him nuts, but he's a good trooper. And And he would always just say, you're okay to have good days. And my doctor would have to tell me, it's okay to not be sick one day and, you know, be okay. Like, you don't have to be sick for your baby to be okay. So anyway, the other thing that started happening with me probably around 6 weeks and all the way to about 11 weeks was I would get migraines really, really bad. I get migraines anyway before I was pregnant, but my migraines started coming on 2 to 3 times a week. And all I could do, they wouldn't give me any medication for it. And so all I could do, like prescription medication, all they wanted me to do was take Tylenol and drink like 60 to 80 ounces of Gatorade or G2. So I would get lots of electrolytes. That was supposed to help flush out my migraine. I don't know. Like they said that when you're like more hydrated and your blood vessels are more hydrated, it helps get rid of your migraines. But it was awful. Like I was leaving work a lot because I couldn't work with a migraine. If you've ever had a migraine before, you know, like you can't look at a computer screen, you're sensitive to light. Like the only way I could even deal with them was lay in a dark room with no light and kind of try to deal with it, like put a cold pack on my head or what. Anyway, so that was kind of awful. That was probably the worst. And I would see him, like I see like spots coming on and I knew that my migraine was coming on and I would just want to cry because I'm like, I'm at work, I cannot leave again, you know. And anyway, so finally at 10 weeks, my OB gave me a prescription called butabitol. I think it's butabitol. It might have been a different version, but it's basically like acetaminophen, butabitol. It's like this cocktail, codeine, and something else. And it really helps. I only take it when I feel a migraine coming on. So I take it as early as I possibly can and drink as much water as I can with it. And then it usually goes away about a half hour later. Even if I still don't feel very good, I can function. And that's what's fantastic. So, and being in the second trimester now, my migraines have gone down significantly from 2 to 3 times a week to about once every week or 2 weeks. So it's a lot more manageable and I can deal with it. Now I have this prescription that I can take. It's safe during pregnancy, but you know, of course I don't just take it all the time. I only take it when I absolutely need it. So that was another thing. Oh, one thing I did forget to mention is that like I was so extremely tired pretty much the entire first trimester, that I was taking probably like 2 to 3 naps a day. I would take a nap on my 15-minute break at work. I would take a nap on my lunch. I would take a nap like when I would get home, even if they were just 15-20-minute naps. Like I was always napping. I was so extremely tired down to my bones. And then around 12, 13 weeks, I started getting a lot more energy. And now I'm up to the point where I feel like, you know, I can go all day without a nap and I can go, you know, be up and around and do things without feeling exhausted. So that's nice too. Anyway, I think that's everything. Oh, something else is, so today is Wednesday the 17th, and probably starting last Friday, I started feeling like little flutters or like a little movement, and I was like, can it be already? Like, can I have this already? And I was 16 weeks yesterday. And then starting like on Monday and Tuesday of this week, I could really feel the baby moving. And like, I wouldn't say it was like butterfly flutters is what everyone told me. But it almost felt like popcorn popping in my tummy, if that makes sense. And now it's a lot stronger. Like even just within a couple of days, I went from like popcorn popping to, I don't even know how to describe it. It almost feels like there's a finger inside going like this up against my tummy. So it's really awesome, and it helps my nerves tremendously. I mean, I would like get into these modes, usually in the middle of the night when I would wake up and I couldn't go back to sleep, where I would just freak myself out. I would be like, oh, I popped my back. Like, should I not have popped my back? Did that do something to hurt the baby? Or, you know, I did this, or, you know, someone sat on, like, my nephew sat on my lap and I was scared that he hurt the baby. Like I just would worry myself sick and then like be fine the next day. But anyway, I just worry and worry and worry to the point where I'm just like miserable. So now that the baby started moving and I can feel it, it's like, oh, it's just such a relief. Like I still have worries obviously, and I like want to be careful always and whatnot, but it's a huge like weight off my shoulders that like I can feel him like, or her every day. And, you know what, I have an appointment this Thursday, just to, you know, regular OB appointment where they'll check the heartbeat and whatnot. And I'm always nervous for them. Even though I've left with a good, like, experience every time, I'm always nervous for the appointments just because I'm like, today's the day that they're, you know, I'm gonna leave in tears because something's wrong or whatever. And I'm trying to always have a positive attitude, but there's always that, like, little voice at the back of my head telling me something's wrong or not gonna be okay or this is too good to be true. So even though I'm trying to be positive every day and think everything's fine and, you know, just keep on keeping on, like there's always that little voice in the back of my head saying like, nope, this isn't going to work out and this is wrong. Like you're not allowed to have this kind of a thing. Anyway, so I was super nervous for my appointment this Thursday just because I always get anxious for him. And now that I can feel the baby, I'm like excited. Now I can be excited to go and hear the heartbeat and know that everything's going to be okay. I should have mentioned this before, when I went at 14 weeks, and this was the first appointment that they didn't do an ultrasound. They were just going to use the Doppler to listen to the heartbeat. It took the doctor a while to find the baby. Like I started crying. I was so nervous, and she's like, this is normal, like it takes this long or whatever. And I'm like, not at 14 weeks, it shouldn't, you know. And she moved all around my stomach, and then she went back to a spot that she'd already been, and then she heard the heartbeat and we could all hear it, and it was super strong and loud and perfect. But since it took her so, I just started crying, and she's like, she just rubbed my arm and she's like, I'm sorry, I know that made us nervous, or, you know, whatever. And my husband couldn't go to that appointment, so I was already like, you know, nervous anyway, but luckily my mom was there. And I'm so grateful that she was there because my mom recorded the sound of the heartbeat and then sent it to me. And I don't think a day's gone by that I haven't listened to the heartbeat of the baby that my mom recorded, because it's super strong and loud and just perfect. And you can hear the doctor saying that's exactly what it sounds like. It's absolutely perfect, you know, and really strong and, you know, whatever. But it was so horrible. And it was probably like 30 seconds it took her to find that like heartbeat, but it felt like 30 minutes. It was horrible, and my heart just stopped, and it was such a horrible feeling. And even though she found the heartbeat, and that was at 14 weeks, and you know, the chances of miscarrying after 14 weeks has gone, you know, is extremely low, I was still nervous for my appointment this Thursday because of my experience last week. Anyway, so now long story short, now that I can feel the little baby, it makes my appointment's more exciting than scary. So anyway, that's where I'm at right now. I would do a bump picture or whatever, but I'm using my phone and I don't have my husband here to take it for me. So I'll have to try to post one later. I'm doing weekly bump photos, so I'll probably try to just do a time lapse of 6 weeks to now. This past couple of weeks, my bump has really popped out and is really defined, where, you know, like you feel fat just for a few weeks. And I feel like this week is like, people are like, dude, you look super pregnant. And I'm like, I know, right? It's awesome. So I'm like obsessed with it and looking at it all the time and, you know, whatever. So I'll have to show you on my next video if I remember. Anyway, I hope you guys are all doing well. If you have any questions or if anything I forgot to answer, please comment below and I will try to remember on my next video. Okay, thanks guys.